I hope आप लोग सब बहुत ही बढ़िया है. Everybody has been keeping very, very well, and we meet yet again. Today, I've come with a slightly lengthier video. But again, like I said, it is very, very important. In fact, I say that for all my videos. Somehow, when I make it, मुझे लगता है मेरी मेहनत बहुत important है. So I feel, watching it also is going to give you some benefit, definitely. Today, I am here to be able to walk you through all of the detailing from the A to the Z of all things that need to be kept in mind and the kinds of things that you have to keep practicing whenever we tend to be sitting for an interview. What we are also going to be talking in depth today are going to be about a couple of very, very traditional questions of पूछेंगे ही पूछेंगे. But what where we fail is कितनी बार हम लोग को ये नहीं समझ में आता है कि intent क्या है इन questions का, why are they even asking, and what is it that they want. कितनी बार होता है कि it's sometimes that they're trying to be making us comfortable but we don't even know about it. For example, जब जब वो हमसे पूछते हैं tell me something about yourself, why they don't want to know. वो लोग सिर्फ हमसे ये क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं so that we now understand we have lived with ourselves for whatever odd number of years. हमसे अच्छा हमको कौन जानता है, and this can be the best way, or this could be the best foot forward for you to start the projection at the highest note. And of course, with that, it's the first question wherein you knows everything about yourself and the most comfortable question. So the interviewers actually tend to do us, they're doing us a favor by asking something like that because they actually want us to be comfortable. वो चाहते हैं कि ice breaking हो जाए, hesitation खत्म हो जाए, and that what we now truly see is going to of course be the candidate. But also please make sure that doesn't mean कि हम flowery language में जो मन करे वो बोल देंगे. They make note of everything that you say and then they match it throughout the interview to be able to see that what you have said, does it match with your personality or not, and the body language does not lie. And these guys are trained psychologists. इनको सब पता रहता है. So we're of course we might think we're smarter than them, but we're not actually. So let's see what are the kinds of things that we need to keep in mind. What are some traditional questions that we have for which how should the answer be curated accordingly? And again ended with the do's and the don'ts that we must follow throughout the interview process that is going to be there. This video is slightly longer, so stay with me because the end is going to be worth it. So let's begin with the Christ interview that we have. So what are our contents going to be? We're going to be dealing with the intro, wherein we are going to be talking about why are these interviews important, and of course the intent of all of it, the kinds of questions that we have, the appearance, which is going to be how must your body language be, what should you wear, how should your posture be, how should your speaking be, how should your mannerism be, and of course the kinds of mistakes that you need to be avoiding in totality. Now, again, like I said, we're going to have the intro. Why are they important? Some questions and things to keep in mind during the interview process. Beginning with the first. Now, why are these interviews important? I will just zoom it a little bit so that everybody can have a view. Now, interviewers will learn about your personality through these interviews. Now, try and understand. They have so many people to review. They want somebody who's going to be somebody who's going to be fresh off the plate, somebody who doesn't have this stale rotten mentality, somebody who's really you know is a sight for the sore eyes. So that's the kind of personality that they want, and they want the kind of personality who has the fire in them to be able to do something. Now, they don't know who you are, but they really want to know because ultimately you are coming into their college. It's like we calling a guest. So we'd want to know the kind of person we're calling, right? We wouldn't want somebody who's ill-mannered, who has bad etiquettes, who's not of any contribution value whatsoever. So they want to know who you really are, which is why the interviews are done. Otherwise, all of the other rounds that you see are super mechanical. उसमें क्या होता है? There is no one-on-one interpersonal connection that is there. So they would never be knowing of it. Interviews will give you an idea of what is expected of you throughout the course. They want to see that what is it that the course really has to offer and what is it that you have in mind. So, a lot of times, what happens is that they might be in doubt thinking that, or it so happens that you choose a certain course, but that is not really your choice. You have been tutored or you've been forced by somebody else, or maybe you have a very different idea of the kind of course that you're pursuing. Now, when you get into an interview, they get clarity of whether it has been something that has been fueled from within or it has been something which has been a societal pressure that has been stomped onto you. And They also understand how much clarity do you have of the course that you are going to be pursuing. Do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years down the line being, somebody who's achieved a reputable position in that career option, or is it just going to be, is just struggling. You're just going on. So that is one clarity that they really get from the interview. Objectives of the college as well as helping the college determine your potential. So with these interviews, they understand what the objectives of the college are and how well can you fit into that bigger picture. And of course, the other way around also. So it's a two-way street. They also see how will they help you meet your targets, because if they are not a value addition to you and you are not a value addition to them, तो भैया क्यों कर रहे हैं? And college interviews act as a starting point for your network and friends. So that actually, like I said, is the first ice breaking. The moment you get into the college, a lot of times you're going to see college interviews जो होते हैं, वहां पे आपको कोई मिल जाएगा जो आपको बाद में college में दिख जाएगा. So and you're the first few people that we meet. All of these are really really important. They tend to have we've always very scared and we have these frozen feet and we don't know कैसे क्या करना है. So these interviews, what if you see the same panelist as one of your faculty? You'd be like, oh ma'am, I always knew who you were and what you did. So all of these things, like really tend to help. So college interview is just not about the interview on the face value of it. There are so many facets to it, and all of these are essential and important. Okay, now very quickly, let's just see what are the types of questions. So officially, questions, the kinds of questions that they're going to be asking are divided into four categories that we have. The first, of course, are the general awareness ones. They're the easiest ones. They will just ask you, is the president of India? Well, they're not going to ask you something that is so easy. Cabinet ka kisi ka naam pooch lenge, or they're just going to ask you to be able to see how much of current, how aware are you, how well read are you, how much of studying have you really done that you claim to do, and stuff like that. And general awareness could also be a couple of questions regarding the academic bit of it. Interpersonal questions. So here is when they dig a little into the kind of personality that you are and what sort of a relationship do you share with people around you. Because in the college, you're not going to be the only person. They're going to be more. So they'd want to know that, how are you thinking of building yourself up, and how are you also going to be somebody who's going to be a value addition to the college and people around as well. Situational questions. If they feel that they're a little doubtful and they don't know कि भाई कैसा type का बंदा है, क्या है, so they might just give you an impromptu situation to solve. This could also turn out in terms of the SAT, which is a situational analysis test, and towards the end, character questions. So to be able to see how on what sort of a person are you, they're going to ask you questions like, how do you think your friend defines you? Or if you were if you suddenly vanished from the face of this earth, who would be the first person to miss you? And a lot of things about your strengths and your weaknesses, just to be able to gauge as to the kind of character that you carry. So broadly, these are the four dimensions onto which the question categories are divided. Now, beginning with the first one and the most important, like we discussed, tell us about yourself. They will always begin with asking you to tell about yourself. They will not begin with anything else, because although they don't really want to have so much of information about you, but they need to have the conversation going. And for that, they have to have some previous knowledge of, what on where should they begin with. In an interview, always remember, it is always one question leading to the next. So what you answer is what you supply for the next question. So be very, very mindful of what you are. ऐसे बोलते हैं ना दिमाग में, you always have to be 2 sentences ahead of what you're going to speak in the mind. So that you know कि अच्छा ऐसा कुछ पूछेंगे तो I'm prepared. कुछ ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते. We can't just speak something which is very foolish, which is going to land us in trouble. Now, tell us something about yourself. Of course, you can start by speaking a few lines about the current role in the course and what broadens your scope. Then you can say a few lines about the experience of the past and link it directly to why you've applied. The most important is expressing your answers like this will cut you through the noise. Cut you through the noises, it'll set you straight. It'll get you in the game and allow the interview panel to focus on the you that is most useful for them. So here is when the moment they see that all the tension and everything, all the friction around has sort of, just disappeared, it's vanished, and now it is you. They will then begin with the actual relay of questions that they have. Okay, why this college? It's very important for them to know why have you chosen their college. Now, here, generally, what happens is people tend to, they tend to fall trap for questions wherein they become very obsequious, flattery, मस्का लगाने लगते हैं, आपका college ये, आपका college वो. See, as much as it is good to the ear to listen to compliments, but you have to understand there's a level to which compliments are okay, and then there's a level wherein they become completely. I mean, one understands that okay, these are not genuine compliments. These are absolute buttering that seems to be happening. And the most important point is, does your career goal meet the objectives of the college? So if there's a perfect marriage there is when you have the right fit. And this is what they tend to be seeking here. So you should give an honest answer to this, but make sure you present the answer well. Describe the conclusion of the college, research your interest. So research basically is you must always read about the college, catalog पढ़ के जाना. पता करो Christ क्या करती है, what are the USPs of that college, how does this college stand out from the industry, infrastructure, faculty, placements, whatever it is. How is this going to help you? Is it the situational aspect of it, or whatever it is? You have to make sure that you are well researched about it. You can also speak about the excellency and public image, of course. थोड़ा बहुत तो आप उसके बारे में तारीफ करोगे ही. Next, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Now, this is a very futuristic question, but again, very, very important. You cannot be myopic when it comes to career. A career is very hard earned, right? And a lot of, so initially, you are only a liability to the college, you're not an asset. And if they know that through and through you're only going to be a liability for them, why will they put in so much of effort to be able to train you into somebody wherein you will never even, be able to qualify for that career goal that you think you want? So it's very important that they understand that you have thought through and that you are not going to leave in between. Because आज आप 2 साल पढ़े, तीसरे साल में आपने बोला मुझे नहीं करना लो, कॉलेज के लिए तो एक सीट वेकेंट हो गई, you become a loss for them. So for them, they ask you something like that only to be able to see कि आपने कितना, how much have you seen yourself in, how focused are you in what is it that you're wanting to be pursuing. So while answering this, make sure that you let your imagination fly, but fly with a restraint. Don't just let loose. Giving imaginative responses tells the board that you're open-minded, optimistic, and creative, which are attractive traits to have when you are a young college aspirant. Okay, you can go a little, you can go a little untamed, but that doesn't mean that you'll go overboard. That's not what it is. Untamed is you are raw. You've still not figured out what is it that you want and is everything going to pan out in the 10 years or not, but you still have a direction. And that direction might not pinpoint to some place, but yes. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, it's not always about the destiny, it's always about the journey. So that's where you have to be focusing on. Okay, on to the next. What are some areas of development that you need to work on? Okay, now, no man is perfect. Please don't say I'm perfect. You're not a robot. You don't have AI in you. That's not possible. But does it mean that we go ahead and we honestly submit to our mistakes? No. What we do over here is we articulate. So these need to be disguised strengths. A lot of times, understand, guys, the trick is always overdo of a strength is a weakness. And that's where you need to be playing. So they don't want somebody who's legit weak in something. No, that's not what we're going to do. But what we're going to do is we're going to overuse our strength in such a way wherein they get a highlight कि हाँ यार बंदे के पास strength तो है पर weakness हो गई अभी है इसकी. जैसे for example, if I say I am overtly meticulous with work, मेरा attention to detail इतना ज़्यादा रहता है that a lot of times I miss deadlines. And that's a weakness. You don't have to be, so microscopic with the information. But this will automatically shine the one quality, and that is कि भाई बंदा attention to detail भी देता है. So disguise strengths देना हमेशा, कभी भी अपनी weakness, don't go and pour it in front of them that, these are the things that you lag. So again, choose your words wisely and contextualize your area of development. Please make sure that it's not the kind of weakness that is, suppose if I say I don't like reading, you're getting into law, you can't say you don't like reading. So that's how it is. Okay, which is the last book that you read? Now, this might look like, something which is a little berserk, but it isn't really. Now, the books you read tell a lot about your mind and the thoughts, the kind of, the kind of genre that you pick, the kind of author that you are reading from. These guys are very well-read people. They're competent people. They're not just people, who are just from anywhere. They're literally the kind of people who've qualified a lot and achieved a lot in life. So the kind of book that you read and the kind of author that you pick tells volumes about, the kind of mentality that you have. And everything is being matched. Always remember, everything is being evaluated. So you're under a scanner, like, a scanner of panelists, and everybody is evaluating. So if you say that, I'm not into, I'm somebody who is a very composed person and this and that, and then suddenly you're like, okay, in reading I do thrillers and I like, action and all. How could you really be calm and composed when the kind of, mind altering things that you read are about the genre? So you need to make sure that you're matching the information when you speak. So if the books are not your forte, feel free to divert the interviewer's attention to the last documentary. Just make sure that you don't waste their time. Their time is very important. They have a lot of candidates to review from. And अगर उनको ये समझ में आ गया कि आप उनका time waste कर रहे हो and that you're not adding any value, they will not select you. That's actually very annoying on annoying on the part of the panel, on the part of the candidate as well. Because if somebody's come to you and somebody is doing you the favor of, giving their time and energy, and in return you don't even give them respectful answers, I think that's really mean, right? So time is of essence, especially their time. Next, if you had to describe your role within your family or friend circle, how would you describe it? So now this becomes a character question, right? So while answering this question, start with the precise answer like I bring groundness to my friends group and substantiate its real life experience. Very important. Whenever you talk about a characteristic trait, there has to be an experience alongside it. If not, prepare one. Experiences, slight bit small little anecdotes around it will always add more substance to what is it that you're saying. So you can't just be like, I have five strengths, A, B, C, D, E. No. They might just ask you, okay, give us a situation wherein you displayed this. So the moment you begin going, okay, I don't know, they know that okay, this hesitance means that it's concocted, it's cooked. It's not something that you really are. And that is the biggest red flag that one can have. How are you planning on spending the summer? Questions like this assist the interviewer in determining the extent of the personality beyond the competition of college interviews. So it should not always be all about academics. It should also be, they also want to know your co-curriculars. They also want to know what kind of a personality you are, what is it that you do in your free time. So when they ask you something like that, it might look like a very vague question, but no, every question comes with an intent. Like I said, all of these questions are scrutinized further, and every evaluative aspect is then matched. So we hear with what you're going to be doing in the summer. Are you going to be going out? Are you going to be indulging in sports? It tells a lot about, what sort of a person that you seem to be. Now, if you had to change one thing about the experience in high school, what would it be? You can make a list of experiences about the most important and the impactful ones from your academic perspective and use them accordingly. Now, sit and brainstorm. See, I'm not saying that we are going to be preparing for all of the questions and that you will know everything. No. But still, to be prepared for and to be able to have done a lot of mock interviews will really take you the long way. Because you don't want to say anything there. It should just not be you mumbling any nonsensical thing. It has to make sense. After all, your future depends on that interview. So it's very important that it's quality coming out of the mouth. Okay, now these were a few questions that they might have asked or they might just ask. Now, apart from that, now it does not just, arrest to these number of questions. There are going to be more, but they sort of, revolve around, they pivot around these question types only. If you Google, you will have at length about the academic questions and the specific current affair questions that they tend to ask. Another important part of the interview process in itself is called the micro presentation. A micro presentation, again, is the kind of presentation wherein they will give you a topic and you will have to speak. So unlike SAT examination wherein you have to write, here what you have to do is you have to speak. Now, here they not only see how much of an extrovert are you, but they also try to see how creative are you and how impromptu are you. How well can you think on your toes? Are you somebody, who is confident, who has that personality to be able to shine through, or are you those cocoon and reticent people, very reserved, can't be speaking about it, or don't really have a lot of idea? Mostly micro presentation topics are around current affairs, but they can also be abstract. The choice of topic will depend on the kind of answers that you've already given and what they now want clarity for. So they don't want to know anything other than that. It always has to be what they want to know and has been missing from your answers. So that's how the topic is going to be given to you. Things about the micro presentation is going to be an extempore topic. Extempore means on spot, impromptu. You can anticipate, but you can't really be sure. You should be well read and researched. Please make sure that reading becomes your forte. Reading takes you the long, it'll always take you the long way, right? With reading, what happens is the mind beautifully keeps evolving, and we don't really understand how, when, where, but it just does. So, reading the opinions, which is why you're pushed to read the editorials every time because it just broadens the perspective of a person. Time allotment is 90 seconds only. So, you have to be speaking for 90 seconds. That doesn't mean you speak anything for 90 seconds. It has to, of course, be the kind of information which is going to be substantial information. Organization of ideas is going to be very important. You can't begin with a conclusion and then add body and then intro to it. It has to be very well structured. So the key to micro presentation is don't speak 10 points. Speak 2 points, but make sure you're giving a very decent conclusion to it and a very good intro to it. You can always seek time before you start. So you can be like, can I have 10, 15 seconds to be able to collate my thoughts? Seek permission. They really like it. Creativity, of course, they're looking for creativity. They're not looking for some tutored textbook answers. They're looking for something which is fresh from the oven. Engagement, it has to be the kind of oration wherein the person who is listening is actually a participant, an active participant. It should not be sluggish, it should not be boring, it should be something wherein the person is really excited. So audience engagement is very, very important. Your communication skills will play a very important role over here. So please make sure that eye contact, fluency, the fact that you are not stammering, a lot of all of your posture, all of these, your fidgetings, all of these things are going to play a very important role. Time management is the key. Please make sure that you practice enough micro presentations to know when 1 minute subconsciously ends. Because if they stop you and you've not been able to give your opinion or your conclusion, then you'd be like, okay, I forgot to make an impact. And that might impact your candidature. Confidence, like I said, this has to be the jewel you have to wear. Confidence is the key. 80% of your problems are taken care of the moment you are confident. Response to the question. If they ask you something, you must begin with a greeting, a salutation, permission, whatever it is. Please be full of etiquettes. Don't be somebody who's very rogue. Don't be a brusque. Be very, very gentle. Be very well mannered. That's what they're looking for. Wide genre, the kind of topic that is going to be could be from anywhere under the sky. So it doesn't mean it's just going to be one. Like I said, what you are missing is what they will ask. Be precise and be concise. Like I said, quality over quantity always. Let's very quickly see a little about the body language, something that we just discussed, and that's where we get the tail of this idea from. Now, be confident throughout. Like I said, confidence is something you must just drink it in water and milk like some dissolvable, booster and come along. Because confidence is going to take you really. So, confidence to not know an answer, confidence to know an answer, confidence to not waste that time, everything is very important. So, make sure that you are confident all throughout. Now, make sure you don't have a poor posture, so you're not like slouching. You're not fidgeting. You are not, you're not playing with your nails. You're not doing any of this. You're not touching your hair constantly. Nothing of that sort. You have to be sitting straight. You have to look into their eyes, and you have to always have a smile on your face. A smile can take you a very long way. Fidgeting, like I said, no shaking, no trembling, nothing of that sort. No eye contact, please don't do that. There has to be proper eye contact. Look him in the eye, but there's a difference between staring and eye contact. Doesn't mean you just go like, full raging into the other person's eye. No, it's not, you're not love struck. Clearly, you just have to maintain an eye contact so that there is proper engagement that is happening. Disorganized appearance, so it should not be like a shabby. If you're wearing a tie and things like that, please make sure you're buttoned up. If you're wearing a Indian attire, of course boys cannot wear, the girls are wearing a kurti and stuff like that, please make sure your dupattas are completely pleated and nicely placed with a pin. It should not be somewhere wherein is one thing falls, and it's not a Bollywood movie that is happening. Smiling and nodding, this shows your receptiveness. Active listening, please listen to them. well dressed, like we said, and there has to be solid postures. These are the things you have to be super careful about. Things that you must avoid: frazzled mind. Before going to the interview, please make sure you have no untoward or you don't have any awful experience. Try to keep yourself free from any unorganized engagement. So anything wherein you feel that okay, this is going to buzz me off my game, please stay away because it will eventually reflect on the way you perform for the interview. Don't waste their time. Their time is of a lot of value. We might have only one interview, they have 100 interviews. So if you don't know something, accept it, but don't be wasting their time. Interrupting. A lot of times, what happens is we get too excited when they're asking. We're like, oh, I know this, wait, I'll. No, don't do that. Listen to them. Once they finish, thank you. And then begin or seek permission if you may. If you want to begin from the start again, something, please ask. But don't just, jump. Don't jump the gun there. Please make sure that you're being patient. If you're getting stuck on a question, which is absolutely okay, take time to reiterate, seek permission, or move on to the next question by willfully agreeing to and obviously, also apologizing that you do not know. Or, sometimes a more diplomatic answer like, I knew of it, it's just that I'm not able to, it's not striking on top of my head. So something that articulate can also work. But please don't be like, okay, wait, no, I know nothing of that sort. Doesn't work. Okay, always and always remember mock interviews are a thing. You must do mock interviews. Have faculties, have friends. If nobody, the mirror is your best friend or your front camera. So front camera is not all about selfies. So just make sure that you have the camera in front of you and that you are recording yourself. It'll show you how you look in front of the other person. And there is when you might want to do some corrections. Be ready with a small intro and just keep practicing. They want originalities. Don't copy somebody's. You might take a sketch. You might take a skeleton. You might take like a ढांचा कि अच्छा किसी ने ऐसे बोला है ऐसे बोल देते. This looks nice. But the information should be you. It must not be something that you just get up in the morning, mug up and go and vomit. No. If it is not you, they will find out. And if they find out, there is no redemption. Then that is a lost cause. And I think if you just be careful with all of these little things, you are going to do an A plus job in your interviews. I hope this video was super helpful. If there's any other video that you want me to make, please write in the comment box. Like, share it with your friends and all like-minded people who are preparing for any interview, irrespective of just being very specific to the Christ interview. And I hope this video gives clarity to the places or the questions that they are stuck with. I'll see you again next time with another video and trying to give more clarity to all of these thoughts that keep fogging our minds. Until then, keep practicing like we discussed, and at least the max that we can do is begin to sit tall. All right, then. Thank you so much.